Hi guys, hello and welcome to the analysis for the first exam of this particular season. IIM Bangalore's admission test for their UG courses. So first time the courses have started and the very first exam has kicked off for this particular exam season, and we are here live with the analysis of the paper. Great. So paper pattern, more or less as announced, three sections: verbal ability, logical reasoning, and quant. In fact, in today's paper, this was the order of the section also. 15, 15 and 30 questions. Each section had roughly, each section had 30 minutes and then 60 minutes. Sorry, there is a typo here. So total of 120 minutes there. Marking scheme same, +3 and -1. So no changes there. Very important was across the country, what we understood was that there was an average delay of an hour for the exam to begin. We have students at Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, of course Bombay. Everywhere we understood that the exam started roughly an hour late, so it was only by 12:15, 12:30ish that students started actually coming out of the exam hall. So that was something that was unexpected, but the interface was absolutely smooth. There was no problem there. So nothing. Once the exam started, there was no particular technical difficulty. It was just that there was an initial delay for the particular exam. So yeah, this is about it. We now go to each section's individual analysis. We try and understand what kind of topics were asked, how many questions per topic, overall level of difficulty, and then we get on to the good score, roughly expected cutoff, etc., etc. Okay, so we first start with verbal ability as expected. In fact, lot of students told us that this was easier than even the sample paper that was shared by IMB a few days ago. So there were two RCs. One was very easy RC. One was a relatively difficult RC with difficult language, difficult words for students to comprehend. So what we have understood is the visual impairment RC was relatively easier. The traditional medicines connected with doctor and how the whole health sector is starting to get commercialized, etc., etc. That was a little difficult. Both RCs roughly had 4 questions each, and most of the questions, in the difficult RC were around not direct questions but indirect questions, more around what was being talked about in the passage, but no direct vocab or direct information based questions. They were indirect. So one of the RCs was slightly time consuming. You had to read the whole thing, understand properly, and only then you were able to attempt. But again, we are in an IIM Bangalore's admission test, and we have 2 minutes per question. So for an RC, which is 3-4 questions, so roughly 6, 7, 8 minutes, absolutely doable. No excuses there. Okay. Few students told us there were one or two fill in the blanks with even 3 or 4 blanks, almost like a closed passage. There was one on prepositions, how you blanks and you just have to insert prepositions. There was one on adverb and all of that. So 2-3 questions fill in the blanks we have put. Idioms and phrases, one direct question on idiom. Grammar had a good number of questions, 2 to 3 questions from grammar, and finally there was one question on parajumbles, which was also not very tricky, but not a absolutely straightforward question also. But yes, because given 15 questions and 30 minutes of time, most of the students that we spoke to were able to attempt almost all the questions in the VA. So overall difficulty, we say, was easy of this particular section, as we had anticipated. So yeah, good attempts. I definitely think, we at IMS definitely think that it should be 13 or more than 13 questions, because students had a lot of time. So good score therefore will be in the range of 37 to 40, maybe 1 or 2 questions if you attempt everything and maybe you go wrong with 1 or 2 questions. So very slight margin for that error. Otherwise the cutoffs, or rather the good score is high. Cutoff also I don't think is going to go very low. don't be surprised if the cutoffs are in higher 30s, maybe even 35, 36 or something like that. Okay. So because the section was easy, because there was a lot of time per question, and nothing very out of the box difficult, all was pretty routine, all that you must have trained yourself for if you have been preparing for some time now. So I don't think there were any unpleasant surprises, there were any unexpected surprises in the paper. So that way the section was easy. So I don't think the cutoff is going to go quite low. In fact, it should be on the higher side. So yeah, that's about verbal ability. We now go on to the next section, logical reasoning. This was the second section in the paper for a lot of them. Sectional level, again, easy to moderate. I would still put it more towards moderate, but less towards easy. So yeah. Topic wise arrangements, there were 3 questions. Again, like the sample paper, there were no sets as such. Each arrangement question was an individual question. So yes, there was some time involved in solving that question. It was not that you get one arrangement and suddenly have 2, 3, 4 questions ready. You know what we are used to. But IIM Bangalore, to be fair, had given that indication in the model paper itself. So again, no complaints there. Alphanumeric questions, quite a bit, 5, 6 questions on alphanumeric, coding, decoding, etc. etc. 5 to 6 questions is what students have reported. Something to character to the third right, third left, and there is a code, and there is a word and a code given. You have to decode the word, etc. So coding, decoding, alphanumeric together were around 5 to 6 questions. Blood relations, there was one question very similar to what was given in the model paper. Again, A plus B divided, A plus B means A is the brother of B. You know, those kind of questions. Course of action, one question. Statement assumption, one question. There was one question on direction sense, and there was one question on data sufficiency also. Again, nothing, absolutely nothing that was unanticipated. Everything was covered in the sample paper. And I would say this section also was very close to what the sample paper was. So including the level of difficulty, including the type of questions, and including the topic wise split also. They did not really they did not really divert from the topic distribution also. The actual exam also followed more or less what was given in the sample paper. So if you had solved the sample paper properly and religiously, I think you would have done well in logic also. So yeah, good attempts. Again, I say 13 plus questions. Again, most of the students that we spoke to came out saying that we could attempt all the questions in the logic. There was no very difficult question. But again, because it is logic, because there were a few alphanumeric questions, where the patterns may not strike at that point of time immediately. So there is one slight bit of margin for error. So because of that, I've put 13 questions. Otherwise, this should have been 15 questions only. Okay. So good score again, 37 to 40. Expected cutoff, again, I don't think it will go below 34 or 33, but just to be on a safer side, I've put it as 30 to 35 marks. So it can be 33, 34, maybe even go till 36, if those questions were really easy, the alphanumeric questions, because that's the only bone of contention. Otherwise, everything else, whatever, you could have attempted, and you've attempted correctly, I don't think there is any there is any doubt as whether I'll get it right or not. So yeah, so that's about logic. Again, as expected, it was easy to moderate, but I still put it towards the easy side. So yes, logic and verbal both were very easy. Now we come on to the most important bit, quant questions. Quantitative ability, again, the difficulty level, moderate to difficult. I'm saying moderate because I was pleasantly surprised by the distribution of questions from the core maths and the other maths, or the aptitude maths, what we understand as. There were relatively fewer questions from core maths, from the direct 12 standard maths. So a lot of students were able to attempt quite a few questions. At the same time, it was not that easy that students could have attempted 27, 28, 30 questions from that exam. Even though we had 2 minutes per question, even though we had the full hour for this section, I don't think a lot of students would have attempted 27, 28, 29 or 30 questions. So yeah, therefore we are saying it was moderate to difficult. So yes, again, like the model paper, there were two DI sets, 4 questions each. One was a pie with the bar, and one was just a bar diagram. One of the set was a little heavy on calculations, but again, you already have a calculator. If you had done your sample paper, if you had gone through all the video solutions of the sample paper that we had put, we had actively, encouraged using your calci at very strategic places. This was a set, where you could have done very good constructive use of your calculator. So yeah, so 2 sets of DI, 8 questions. Then the entire number system as a module: numbers, factors, remainders, HCF, LCM. I did not see any question on remainders, but yes, there was a question on HCF, LCM, and numbers. So 2 questions roughly, we got reported that from this module. Arithmetic was quite a heavy module, again as anticipated from the model paper. So there was a question on percentage, profit loss, SICI, one question on mixtures allegation, I think 2 questions on averages, one question on time and work. So roughly 6 to 8 questions, one on percentage, one on profit loss, one on SICI, one on mixtures, 2 or 3 in averages, and one on time and work. So roughly anything between 6 to 8 was purely arithmetic, as that was asked. Okay, geometry, trigo, coordinate, all three together were 3 to 4 questions. One question there was on mensuration. Other questions majorly were on trigonometry. Okay, trigo was in conjunction maybe with functions also at times, but yeah, it was trigo and the geometry, trigo, whole thing I've kept it as 3 to 4. Then the big part was functions and graphs, AP and GP. Functions, there were a lot of questions. What we reported, what we got was almost 5-6 questions were only in functions. There were maybe 1 or 2 questions on AP, GP also, and hence I've put 5 to 6 questions here. Set theory, probability, PNC, again 2 to 3 questions there. Matrices and determinants, again 3 questions. So roughly, yeah, this makes our total of 30 questions. The difficult bit there was, I think, 1 question on derivative. There was no question on integration. But broadly, even the modern maths questions that were asked were from matrices, were from trigo. What you have been doing, if at all you started prep for IPMAT Indore, what you have been doing for IPMAT Indore, it was similar to that. It was not very out of the scope or out of the syllabus from the prep perspective. So yeah, good attempts. 18 plus would be a good number of attempts in this particular section. Good score again, because 18 plus attempts I'm saying, so good score will be 52 to 55 ish. Again, considering maybe you attempt 20 questions, maybe get 2 wrong or something like that. Expected cutoff 40 to 44, might slightly go higher again because the number of seats are very less for both of the courses. So depending obviously on how the entire Janta has performed, this cutoff might slightly maybe go above also, because this was relatively, I think it was easier maybe than expected, but broadly, absolutely speaking, it was as difficult as anticipated. So level of difficulty was not very off, is what I would say. So yeah, so 40 to 44 would be the what we think would be a realistic cutoff for cons. Good score again. So if you have to be really sure, or a safe score for a PI call, definitely should be above 50s. Okay. So yeah, overall, all the 3 sections, good attempts, what we just went through, 13 and maybe 18ish. Good score, 37, 37, 52. I don't think there is a lot of sense or meaning in having the overall score here. Across all the exams that you have been taking or you will take in this year, wherever there is sectional time limit, there is always a sectional cutoff. So don't run after the total number. You will have to clear the sectional cutoffs also. Obviously, and there will not be an overall cutoff because there is a sectional cutoff. So yeah, expected cutoff 30, 30, 40, maybe on the conservative side, but 35, 35, 45-ish would be on an aggressive side for you to clear the cutoff and get your very coveted PI call. Yeah, so key highlights: LRVA as easy, or rather I would say easier than anticipated, and QA as difficult as anticipated, not very difficult, not very easy also. So yeah, it's really a very good thing. And kudos to IIM Bangalore that they released the sample paper and they stayed close to the pattern of the sample paper and the LOD of the sample paper. So therefore, the sample paper was an excellent indication of how the exam is going to be. So so yeah, that's about it. What next? What next? You should definitely start your PI prep. Do not lose your focus from your 12th prep. Your boards are on their way. They are running as fast as they possibly can towards you. So you start focusing on your boards. 12th scores are very important. Do not lose focus on the IPMAT Indore, IPMAT Rohtak, NPAT, etc. prep also. Keep doing that also a little bit and have a very good balance of both kind of preps. Okay. And yeah, if you clear all the 3 sectional cutoffs, you will definitely get a PI call. So start your basics of PI prep also. Start immediately. To start, you should start reading the current affairs, the current news that is happening in the world now, today, that happened maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, that's going to happen. Keep following the news for the next 1 month or so, by the time the PIs are over. So and obviously you will have to have the PI prep for Indore also, for Rohtak also. So from now on, maybe spend like half an hour every day or some part of your week catching up on the news and understanding, building a perspective, more important than getting the info. Build a perspective on what's happening, how it is happening, and etc. But yeah, so that's about it for the live analysis. I hope this was helpful. I really genuinely hope that all of you have done well in the LR and VA sections, and you've done your best in the QA section. I genuinely hope all of you do well, clear the cutoffs, and you get that PI call, so we immediately and very quickly with full force start our PI prep also. So yeah, that's about it. I'm just going to quickly go through the YouTube comments if I have anything to address. When will the results be declared? I'm not aware. But is there a sectional cutoff? Yes, I think there will. So there will be. They have not officially announced that there will be a sectional cutoff, but our educated guess says there will be sectional cutoff because there was sectional time limit. So yeah, so you'll have to be good in all the 3 sections. You cannot leverage only one section that way. But yeah, I think I don't have anything else that I have not covered in this particular video. So yeah, I really hope you do well. All the best, and keep studying for your boards. Keep studying for all the exams coming your way. See you.